How far will LSU drop off, losing all this talent to the draft, including Joe Brady and Dave Aranda as coaches? LSU just sent 14 guys to the NFL draft. There are two schools of thought. One is you guys better enjoy 2019 because it was a one-hit wonder, and it's not that you're going to be terrible. It's not going to that you're struggling to make a bowl all of a sudden, but it'll be back to 9-win-a-year LSU. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is the culture's been rewritten there, and it's going to, of course, be tough to ever duplicate or come close to duplicating what they just did for them or anybody. You don't have to duplicate what LSU just did to win a championship. You got to duplicate that to maybe be in conversation for the best of all time, period, in the sport. LSU, here's what I think you're looking for. You're looking for what Clemson did defensively this last year. If you're finding out whether you got a cultural overhaul there, if they are there to stay, look and see if they're able to pull off some of what Clemson did last year. Do you remember this time last year, we were talking about all these dudes that Clemson had had on campus forever, all those defensive linemen, felt like a million of them, and they were all going to the NFL draft. Think about how many of them they were losing. 3 in like the first whatever picks in the first round of the NFL draft. There's no way that they can be dominant defensively this year. And then they were dominant defensively again, not just against the bakery of cupcakes that is the ACC. They got in the playoff, and against Ohio State, after giving up an early lead, that defense was able to stiffen its neck a little bit, and they ended up coming from behind and winning. And the point is, you're watching it. I was watching that, and even with LSU eventually beating them in the national championship game, I thought the job Brent Venables did last year with their defense, all things considered, was one of the most incredible things I'd ever seen. And the reason is because the expectations weren't there, because they lost the pieces the year before. Well, LSU's losing a lot of pieces here. If that coaching staff is to the level that maybe we think it is, they're able to replace the departures on the coaching staff, and they're able to overcome cumulatively the losses on the roster. And it may not be a 12-win season this year, but if LSU wins 10 games this year and they're challenging, if they're a 10-win caliber team and they're challenging Alabama and they're challenging whoever would be favored over them, that's a sign that they're here to stay. Because you find me anyone else. Take the 14 best players off anyone else's roster and then throw them right back in the meat grinder the next year. You tell me how they do. Their over-under win total is 9, I think, this upcoming year. I'd take the over, thinking all the while, what's more likely? 10 wins or 8 wins? Because if I land on 9, you just give me my money back. I'd take the over because I think it's far more likely that LSU exceeds expectations than it is that they all of a sudden fall not back to the pack, but behind the pack a couple of rungs and go to 8 wins. I don't think that's what's happening. I think a lot of what they implemented last year is here to stay, even if some of the players that executed what they implemented have moved on.